I rise to join with colleagues to add my voice of support and condolence to the families, players, to the city of Humboldt, and all those involved. I was out of province when I heard the news of the tragic events of last Friday night. I was in Winnipeg, where I had an opportunity to see the outpouring of support from outside of our borders. I attended the Winnipeg Jets Chicago Blackhawks hockey game, where a magnificent tribute took place merely hours after the tragic event. The national anthems were sung with the players at center ice, interspersed with each other, one Jet, one Blackhawk, and the referees as well, standing in a circle. The chants of "Go Broncos, go!" It wasn't about the game. It was about what hockey meant, what life meant to each and every individual. The game was televised across the country, and each and every player had their name bar removed and the name Broncos for both teams put on. The Winnipeg Jets public address announcer, in his now famous address, said hockey players, sporting figures, talk about not playing for the name on the back, but playing for the crest on the front of the team and part of a team. He said, tonight it will be different, that each and every player on the ice will be playing for the name on the back of their jerseys, the Broncos. The 50-50 was a record number that was donated to the Broncos, and it was just one of many of those tributes that took place outside of our borders, and for that we say thank you to our sister provinces, to each and every province, to jurisdictions indeed around North America and around the world. As I drove home, I had a chance to listen to some of the coaches and the players and the people that talked about the game and talked about indeed about the tragedy. The Jets coach Paul Maurice talked about being on a bus, as all of us here have memories of doing that. But he talked about the bus being a sanctuary, about families, looking at the bus driving away and breathing a sigh of relief and saying, yeah, my family is safe, my son or daughter are safe. But certainly that wasn't to be the case. The Jets captain, Blake Wheeler, he talked, they asked him, how did you, as players and organization, pull something together so very quickly? And he just said, because each and every one of us have been there. Each and every one of the players could relate to being on one of those buses and knowing that it could have been. Premier mentioned Mike Babcock and his eloquence and the grief that he certainly enunciated. Todd McClellan and Glenn Gulletson from the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames, they immediately came to Saskatoon to be in the hospital with those and to offer their thoughts and prayers. And as I drove home, people called in from California, from Atlanta, they talked of a game that took place in Norway where there was a moment of silence. So indeed, it is a worldwide phenomenon. The hockey community, the sporting community, and all that's good about sports came together in that evening. I had an opportunity to attend the vigil in Humboldt last night, and it was comforting to see so many members there from both sides of the House, and the Premier and the Leader of the Opposition, and members and MPs and community leaders. And I know it meant a great deal because people came up and said how much it meant to them. And to have the Prime Minister there, to have other hockey figures like Don Cherry and Ron McLean and Drew Remenda, it was very special. And last night was very special as I left the House and drove from Saskatoon to Humboldt to see along the way, and those of you who followed that same path will know, the farmyards, the signs, the Broncos Strong, the Go Broncos Go signs on the highway as we approached Humboldt. I drove out there with my son, and we had an hour to talk about things, to talk about what this meant. And I asked him, what did he do when he first heard the news? And I was very, very happy to hear his words. He said he and his girlfriend and others they immediately went and gave blood. And that's a very, very special. And they talked about organ donation as well. And we've talked about it in this House and the challenges and all that, but this is where you really see how special that is. Yesterday at the ceremony, one of the most special moments was when we were all drawn to the attention of the clock, and it was 7:32 p.m. And that was when a game was supposed to be played, but something much different was happening. And the names of those who perished were read, and we all watched those families, one after one, express their sorrow and their grief. And one of those families are constituents of Saskatoon Willow Grove, the LaBelle family, and they've been through a tremendous time over the last 3 days. So to that family and to all families, we just want to express our deep sorrow and deep regret. The analogy of the scar has been said here today. That really stuck with me as I was driving back to Regina yesterday. Kevin Geringer, the team president, said, "Pray for Humboldt today and every day forward. We are all Humboldt Broncos fans." And as Helen Keller said, "The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the hearts." Our hearts will never forget Friday, April 6th in Saskatchewan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.